We're live, and Jesse is somewhere else. I think he's sharing stuff on the platform. So, you guys, welcome to another special edition of the Legs War Room. We look at when I say it's special. This one is special to us because not only is it somebody that we've been following for a very long time, she's a Latina that made us so proud when we seen her sitting there with all these elected officials behind her, and we were cheering. I had all my kids cheering, and everybody was cheering in my household. So it's actually she's somebody that we look up to. It's somebody that I've seen when she first came onto the scene, and I was like, wow. And then just to watch her grow, and I said, wow, that's exactly where I thought she was going to be when I first saw her. I even told Jesse, watch, you wait, this girl's something special, 100%. So I want to welcome Sister Mayra Flores. Thank you for being on. Thank you for coming on and joining us today.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate your kind words and encouragement. I'm happy to be here. It's an honor to be here with y'all and share this platform and y'all allowing me to share my story and the work that we're doing here in South Texas. So thank you.
Amen, Sister Myra. I know Myra for a lot of years. We've been following her, but I even wore this shirt specially for Myra because I knew she would love it. And so I
I
got the
love
shirt for
it
you.
so much. I
But,
love it.
but thanks for coming on, sis.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
So, sis, so a lot of people I know everybody knows you, but I'm interested to hear it too. So tell us a little bit about your background, real quick, where you came from, and kind of what led you to this point you're at right now.
Well, I was born in Burgos, Tamaulipas, Mexico, which is 2.5 hours away from where I live. I live in McAllen, Texas, deep in South Texas. I came here when I was 6 years old. My father, being an American, was able to file for us to come here to the United States when I was 6 years old. And I'm forever grateful to my father for giving us the opportunity to come here to this amazing country because it is truly the most amazing country that's given us so many opportunities. I would have not accomplished the American dream if it wasn't because of all the opportunities that came in my life. So I'm forever grateful to my dad and my mom as well. So I was 6 years old when I came here, but I don't forget, my roots and where I'm from and the culture. My grandparents still live in Mexico. They still live in Burgos, Tamaulipas. I don't
Oh
go as
wow.
often as I wish because of everything that's going on in Mexico. But I love where I'm from. I'm very proud of everything that they instilled in me. I would not be the woman I am today, the mother that I am today, if it wasn't because of those values that they instilled in me. So I'm very proud of that. But I'm also very proud American. I've been here since I was 6 years old. I've been here all my life. I love this country very much. And I'm forever grateful to my dad for bringing me here and my sisters as well. But of course, coming here to the United States wasn't going to be easy. My dad always said, if you want to accomplish anything in the United States, you have to work very hard. At that age, I really didn't understand until I started working alongside my parents when I was 14. I was 14
Oh,
years
wow.
old when I started working alongside my parents. And it wasn't because they forced me to work. It was something that I wanted to do. I remember asking my dad for some Doc Martens. I don't know if y'all are familiar with that
Oh
brand, but
yeah.
I remember being 14 years old and I really wanted some Doc Martens. And my dad said, well, I can't afford to buy you those shoes, but you
Right.
can definitely work for them. And I just fell in love with work. Yes, it wasn't easy, but being 14 years old and, making $150 a week, it's a lot at 14 years old. So I fell in love with work and I worked Monday through Saturday in the summers and only had Sundays off, but I was just full of energy and I would see my mom working hard all day and still come home to make dinner, to wash clothes and prepare for the next day. So I really never complained because really the person that worked the hardest in our household was really my mom because she just never stopped working. And that just instilled in me the value of hard work. And now I want to, work in the cotton fields for the rest of my life. And
Right.
I continued my education, graduated in San Benito in 2004, got married at a very young age, and we have four amazing children. And I graduated as a respiratory care practitioner, work with the elderly community, work with pediatrics as well for 8 years here in South Texas in the medical field. My husband is a Border Patrol agent. He's been a Border Patrol agent for about 15 years now. So I accomplished the American dream with a career, my home, my children, my family. And I just felt at the time that, our American dream was at risk and my children were not going to have the same opportunities that I had. So I just decided to get involved at the local level, understand the politics, because I really did not really understand the politics, until I got involved to
Right.
volunteer for local candidates. And I honestly grew up very conservative, but I also voted in 2008. I voted for Barack Obama because that's what I was told to do. So, I did not know what the Republican Party stood for or the Democrat Party stood for. So I'm forever grateful to my cousin Elda. If you're watching, I love you. She took the time to talk to me and tell me, hey, we grew up the same way. I don't understand why you're voting, that way. And, it took some convincing. It wasn't right away, but I did my research, after a while, and I realized that the values that were instilled in me and how I was raised really aligned more with the Republican Party. So after 2010, I walked away and I started voting Republican after that. And I started, telling my family to vote Republican and why it was important for them to vote for conservative values. Because for me, it really isn't about a political party. It was about my values. My values are more important. And if the party that I support no longer represents those values, I'm walking away. It doesn't matter which party it is. And that's one of the reasons why I prioritize my values. And I tell my family and, the community that I'm fighting for, what's more important, a political party or your values? If the party that you're supporting is not fighting for your values, you shouldn't support them. Like, we shouldn't be loyal to a political party. We should be loyal to God, to our family, to our, to the people that we want to represent. So that's where my loyalty is at. Yes, I'm a conservative. I'm a Republican, but the day this party is no longer representing my values, I'm not going to support them just because. No, it's my values that I value the most. And yeah, honestly, I've never been involved in politics before. I've never ran for anything. I just woke up one day and I said, I'm running for Congress.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
yeah, I really did. I woke up, I think 2 weeks after President Trump's loss in 2020. I said, you know what? I'm running for Congress. Enough is enough. Let me do my research. What are the qualifications? And so many people did tell me, Mayra, you don't have the qualifications. You worked in the medical field. You were born in Mexico. You don't have the money that it requires. And I told them, the truth. Look, I Googled it and Google says I can run and I
Right.
will. I'll do all the research that I need to do to make it right. And I did. I did my own research and how to file and how to run and what I needed and the people I needed to talk to help me, to support me, because it does require, a lot of funding. But if you knock on those doors and you don't give up, you'll get the support from the people that you need. And that's exactly what I did. And I realized, when I was in Congress, within 1 week, that we have the qualifications to lead in this country. Actually, we need more of us. We need more of
Right.
the
Right.
everyday American, right, to run this country, that understand the struggle, what it's like to live paycheck to paycheck. They need us to start running this country. Look at all these people that are, creating all these policies that are ruining our country. These are people that have 40, 30 decades of qualifications, and look what
Jeez.
they're doing to our country. So no, we need us. We need all of us to start running this country at the local level, at the state level, and at the federal level. And I was very, very blessed to win a special election. I became the first Mexican-born congresswoman ever elected in history. So no one can take that away from us. Unfortunately, we were not able to keep our seat in 22 due to redistricting, because I was serving in one district and they redrew the map and made it practically 3 times harder for us to keep the seat. Decided not to give up, to continue putting in work. And now this district is a toss-up. This is a Hillary 36-point victory, okay, to now being a toss-up. So that is just a testament to the work
Wow.
that we've put in this district, and we're not giving up. We're going to give it our all, and I see the path of victory. But at the end, I trust in God that He'll put me where He thinks it's best.
Well, Myra, I just want to say that we're very proud of you. So many Latinos, we were so happy and proud when you won, and at the similar time, Anna and Monica in Texas, there was a few other Latinas had won. So we were very proud, and even you would kind of expose some of the leftist Latino pages because none of them were sharing you. And I made a post and I called them out. I was like, "Get all these leftist Latino pages." First immigrant Latina, how come you guys ain't? So then a few of them started posting it because I was calling them out. I was like, how shows that you guys are fake. You guys are all about us, all this and that. Then why ain't you guys celebrating the sister right here? And then, but I wanted you to tell her the other day when we had lunch, you mentioned something, and I just thought it was so great. I wanted you to mention it again. How you said that that you were the first one, and you took that from the Democrats.
Yes.
So
You know,
go ahead and share it.
I remember thinking, no matter what happens, in November, what I want to do in this special election is take away that from them, because I know that one day they'll have, a Mexican born running for Congress. And what I didn't want is for her, to win, and she would be
Right.
on Vogue magazine. She would be all over, they would never shut up, I just know it. And so for me, it was so important to take that away from them. So they will never, ever, ever, ever be able to say that they elected the first Mexican-born congresswoman ever elected in history. They'll never be able to say that. So I'm very proud that we were able to take that away from them, because I know it burns them. I know it does.
They hate to have to reporting on that. That's
Yeah, they
what
wish they had somebody like that they could just cart around and just, you know what I mean, just put on display, but they don't have it. All they got is AOC, and it's like, bleh, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no. And what kind of Spanish is that?
It's all terrible. But what was your thoughts on the election? I know everybody's dying to
I
hear your thoughts
know.
on the election yesterday. What was your thoughts, Sister Myra?
The debate.
Yeah,
The
the debate.
debate.
Yes. Honestly, I felt sorry. I felt really, really sorry for Joe Biden. I think it's sad that he has family that clearly has no love for him, because if
Right.
they did, they would advise him to not run for re-election, to spend his last years with his loved ones, with his children and grandchildren. I mean, who wants to spend, your last years there? Like, I don't get it. I would want to be with my family. I would want to be with my loved ones. And clearly, they want him there so they can continue taking advantage of that position, because let's be honest, President Joe Biden has no idea what he's doing. Someone else is running the country, and that's the truth. But his family wants him there so they can continue, taking advantage of his position and the power that they get, and they continue to enrich themselves, because it's really sad what I saw. Clearly, he's not running our country, and he should not be in that position. So now we have to decide, President Joe Biden or President Trump. And let's be honest, under President Trump, we had a safe border, we had a strong economy, we were thriving, we were able to afford to take our families on a vacation. We were able to do so much more under the Trump administration. So it's important that we prioritize the policies that are going to put our families first. And the only option is President Trump. And of course, if you're in South Texas, Mayra Flores.
Right. No, 100%, sister. And when you were talking about it, just like you said right now, who in his family is doing that? Like, I think I know it's not Joe Biden, because I know Joe Biden is past the point of rational thinking, right? I think he's past the point of even understanding that he's up on stage. I think he's just going through what he's always done for the last, 50, 60 years, right? He's just kind of going through the motions of it. But what you were saying, I want to get into the border. It kind of touches me, because I got a primo that's a first cousin that's in El Paso. He's a border patrol agent. He used to live here in Shafter, and he's down there in El Paso right now. And my family came from the same part of Mexico, and they went up to Texas. My dad was born in Lubbock, Texas. So when I heard your story, I was like, hey, it's kind of the same thing. You know what I mean? We have a lot of similarities. And I know the border has been a huge issue. So yesterday, simultaneously, right, as Joe Biden is sitting there going, and the Border Patrol agent, they did endorse me. And then, like, not even like 20 seconds later, they tweeted, "Now, homeboy, we didn't endorse you, and we never will endorse you." So you're seeing it like in live, like time, them literally like fact checking him, right? So I know you, border family, you know what I'm saying? Because your husband's, not only you guys live there, but your husband's a Border Patrol agent. I bet you guys were sitting there like, what? This dude, right? I bet you knew instantly. So what was your thoughts on that?
I definitely knew that wasn't true. I was like, there's no way they endorsed you.
Right.
And I personally, have spoken to Brandon. So I know for a fact, that did not happen. Actually, Brandon was here with President Trump here in South Texas a few months ago. And, Brandon went up on the stage. I was there. I personally saw it. And he in front of us, he endorsed him. So that, yeah, I knew right away that it wasn't true. And not only, I had, like I said, yes, my husband's Border Patrol, but I also have uncles and cousins in the Border Patrol. And so we knew right away. But again, he doesn't know, he doesn't know what he's saying. I honestly, it's just so sad that, he's put in that position. I really think that, President Trump, just nailed it. He did amazing. I think that considering everything that he's going through, honestly, I have so much
Yeah.
respect, for him. He was there for 2 hours, fighting back, answering the
Jeez.
questions as best as he could with everything that he's going through, running for president, traveling all around the country. I mean, I just can't imagine. When I complain, I remember everything that he's going through. I'm like, I better not complain. I try not to complain because I know that he has it very tough with everything that he's going through.
But the other things that I would notice, I was just getting me frustrated was the ridiculous questions that they were asking him. It was totally all left leaning. Like they literally handed it to Joe on a platter. Like they were just giving it to him, like that, and he couldn't. That's how pathetic it was. Is that they were handing him on a platter, and he still couldn't answer, and he still couldn't do nothing.
I
That's why
know.
they're like, "Get him out of here. We need to get him out of here because he
Abort.
couldn't
Yeah.
answer even abortion. That's their go-to. Everybody
Right,
knows
right,
that's their
right.
go-to
We
and all.
want him to stay
Even
in the
though,
ballot, though. We want him
oh
to
yeah,
stay
we
in the
want him
ballot.
to.
Stay in
We
the
want him to
ballot. I
stay.
think it's important that the American people, are able to decide. And for the first time, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know if this has happened before, not in my lifetime, where now you have one former president, one president. You know
Right.
what you're gonna get. So it's not, you can't no longer say, well, I didn't know. I didn't know what was gonna happen. No, now you know what the Trump administration is all about. Now you know what the Biden administration is all about. And it's only going to get worse under the Biden administration. So if you want to go back to the good life where you had more money in your pocket, it's that simple. You want more money in your pocket, you vote for President Trump. If you're in South Texas, you vote for Trump and Flores. If you want more money in your pockets, if you want less money in your pockets, then yeah, Joe Biden is your option. But who wants less money in their pockets? I don't get
Right.
it.
Also for Ted Cruz in Texas out there, make sure you vote for Ted Cruz. He's in a tough
Oh yeah.
race. Number two is Ted
If
Cruz.
Senator Ted Cruz is watching, I apologize.
Yeah, him also.
His election is very important as well. And honestly, I didn't even think about Senator Ted Cruz because he got it. It's an easy win for him,
Uh,
honestly. His opponent is so progressive, so far left.
oh
I
yeah.
mean, he has no
Speaking
chance of winning. No chance of winning.
So
Not in
speaking
Texas.
of progressive and far left, tell us a little bit about Vicente Gonzalez, the one that you're up against. How like let everybody know what's up about him. How is he? Is he far left, or why should people not be voting for him?
He's so progressive, but he acts like he's a moderate. Like he tells you, what you want to hear. But if you look at his voting record, it's very far left, and he votes, party lines. For example, he voted in favor of biological men playing in women's sports. He voted against deporting illegal immigrants that commit crimes in this country. I mean, it that That to me makes no sense. So if you're illegally in the country committing a crime, you should be immediately deported. I mean,
Right.
no questions asked. And this should not be a Republican or a Democrat, issue. We should all be, agreeing on this. If you're illegally in the country committing crimes, you should be deported immediately. But he voted against that. So that just tells you, who he is. He's against, border security. He claims he's for border security, but votes against border security measures. He's also voted in favor of sending billions of dollars abroad, crazy overspending, but yet he votes against bringing funding to our own district, right? Because he claims that it's going to increase taxes. Well, sending $200 billion to Ukraine, it's not going to increase our taxes, but bringing a
Right.
couple million to our district will makes no sense. So he does not clearly have the best interest of South Texas. He's there just to enrich himself and in his party, and that's it. And we need representation here in South Texas that puts us first, and that the people here in South Texas are able to stay here and not have to leave South Texas for better opportunities, because we don't have a lot of opportunities in South Texas, and we want those economic opportunities so our children accomplish the American dream here and don't have to leave. And that's what I'm about. I'm about, strengthening the economy, securing the border, which are the top issues right now. Without an economy, we can't do anything. Without money, it's very difficult. So my top priority is to cut the spending and put Washington on a budget, just like we all are on a budget. It's time that we put Washington in a budget and strengthen the economy, and of course, secure the border. I also want to introduce legislation that put monsters that traffic with children in prison for the rest of their life. I believe in second opportunities, but not these type of people. Anybody who is a part of child trafficking should be in prison for the rest of their life. United States is the #1 in child trafficking, and I want to change that. Mexico is the #1 provider in the world, and I want to change that. And the only way is by us, putting an end here in the United States. And it's just a passion of mine. I have 4 children. And I don't care what the status of these children are. I don't care if they're legally in the country. I'll say it. I don't care what the status of any child is. We have an obligation to making sure that they're safe. And under this administration, children are in danger. This administration has
Right.
lost track of 85,000 children. We don't know where these children are at right now at this moment. They were sent to their sponsors. 30 days later, these sponsors are no longer taking a call. They claimed they were related. They claimed they were family. But since we're not doing no DNA testing, because the Biden administration went away with that, they no longer wanted to do DNA testing, and that hurts. That hurts our children. And I say our children because at the end of the day, these are our children, and as adults, we have an obligation to making sure that these children are safe. And the best thing to do is to send them back to their loved ones. Also, making sure that we do DNA testing and that they're actually with their mother or father or a family, and not just take these people's word, because clearly it's not what's happening. And under the Trump administration, 30% of the DNA testing would come back that they were not related to the child. So we were able to prosecute. And we're not able to prosecute right now because none of that is being done. So that's something that I also want to work on. And I think that I could, I hope that I can get some Democrats to support this type of legislation. I don't know why it hasn't happened, but I think that it's time. It's time that we, put a hard hand on these type of people that shouldn't be roaming our streets.
Right, 100%. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Jess knows that I've had a situation where I used to work for the school district, and there was a little girl I used to work with that was raped by an illegal immigrant, and she was 8 years old. She was deaf, but ever since then,
Just happened in Houston. A little precious little girl, Jocelyn. She was 12 years old.
Right.
She was raped and killed by 2 illegal immigrants that just crossed in May. They had just crossed into our country, and they were released knowing that they were actually criminals because one of them was given an ankle bracelet. So if you have to put an ankle bracelet, to someone that crosses illegally in the country, that they're not safe. So then
Right.
why even release them? Why put our children in danger? And, again, I'm an immigrant. I immigrated here to this country. I'm a proud, Mexican American, proud to be an American. And I believe in border security. I am against
Right.
illegal immigration. I think that it's important that we focus on legal immigration and that we improve the system where we make the process, better. So good people that want to come here to the United States to work hard, absolutely. But we have to secure the border so our border patrol agents are able to put an end to terrorists, child traffickers, drug traffickers, you name it. All these people are taking advantage of these open border policies, and they're coming in and they're hurting our families. And we shouldn't wait until it hurts our loved ones. We need to care now. So, when I see this mother crying, I cry. All of us mothers need to, just come together, and parents need to come together on this issue, because yesterday was her daughter. Tomorrow it can be our daughter. It can be our niece. It can be our nephew. We're not the exception. We always think we're the exception and that bad things are not going to happen to us. And we're not the exception. Bad things happen to everybody, and it can also happen to us. So we shouldn't wait until it's too late. So it's important that we all raise our voices and put an end to this madness.
Amen.
Yeah.
You notice how the left never wants to talk about that. They never want to talk
Right.
about all those missing children right there. And then look at all the stuff that they give to the illegals, like Trump was saying, free housing, car, all this stuff. They want to always like reward, so that there's no incentive for them to even want to come and do it the right way. Because if they're coming
Right.
illegally and then you're showering them with all this stuff, you're not even
That's
giving it
right.
to your own people, your own citizens, and even the veterans, like Trump was saying. You're not even giving it to your own citizens, but you're trying to give it to them when they're coming here illegally. It's just totally ridiculous. They don't care about American citizens. They only care about these ones that are coming here illegally. We're not even talking about. It could be terrorists and all the drugs and the sex trafficking. They never wanted, like you said, they never want to talk about all those missing children. They never want to
Mhm.
talk about the human trafficking, the rapes, the fentanyl. You notice you'll never hear the left
Yeah.
talk about any of those things.
All they do is incentivize illegal immigration. And last year alone, they spent $450 billion in housing and carrying of illegal immigration. So imagine what
Wow.
we could have done with 450 billion, not million, billion. And you can look it up and fact check me if you want, but that's how much money was spent last year. And I know that we could have used that money in a much better way. And we should not have to take care of these people. We need to take care of the American people right now that are struggling. If you want to come here to United States, you need to come here to bless this country, to work hard, to add to this country, right? Not to take away and be a burden to this country. You want to come here, you come here to work, not to be dependent of the government. Because when I came here and my family came here, we came here to work very hard, and everything that we have, we earned it. And I know that it's an insult to many immigrants who've immigrated to this country to work. These people are insulting us, because I hate that the Democrat Party puts us all in the same box. And no, I'm not like those people. I did not come here to United States and was housed in hotels and things like that and expected breakfast, lunch, and dinner. No, my families came here to work hard, and they earned through work their own breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Everything that we have, we earned it. So no, we're not the same. I was interviewed by someone that said, but aren't these your people? And I was like, maybe they're your people, but they're
It ain't
not
my
my
people.
they're not my people. And the people that are crossing illegally into our country, I mean, they're from all over the world.
All
I mean,
over,
you'll see
yeah,
people with blue eyes and blonde hair, And so they have
everywhere.
they have this idea, of the people that are coming into our country. I'm like, no, it's people from all over the world that are coming illegally into our country. And they see us, and honestly, many of these people on the Democrat Party, they don't see us as Americans. They don't. They will always see us as, Latinos, Hispanics, or Mexicans. They tell me, "Oh, you're Mexican." Look, I'm proud of being, from Mexico, but I'm an American, and I have news for you. This is what an American looks like, and this is what the
Right.
future is going to look like for this country.
That's
We're also
100%
the
true.
future of the Republican Party. This is what the future of the Republican Party looks like. Unless, and if if they don't invest in the Hispanic community, there is no future for the Republican Party. That's why I do
That's
what I
100%
do.
right.
That's why I do what I do, because I believe in what the Republican Party was based on and what it started. That's why I got involved in getting more Hispanics involved in the Republican Party, to grow it, but also to strengthen it and to keep Texas red. That's the only way. But yeah, we're the future.
No, I 100% agree. And that's
Yeah.
actually was the question that I was going to ask you next, is just the Latino vote, but just like you were touching on the future of the Republican Party. I 100% believe. I never understood, and Jesse knows this is like my biggest pet peeve with the Republican Party. I tell Jess this like every other day. I said, if you have a lot of conservative Latinos available, like Jesse with Jess's story, or just different people with Tesla or whatever, it's like they're very selective, right? They're like, no, because maybe we can't control this person, or like with you got a platform so big they couldn't. Okay, they're like, okay, well, she's here. Now we have to embrace it. Because I know people do want to, but let's just be honest, there's some that don't because it's control or whatever. But you're 100% right. The Latino community or the Latino vote is so important. I hope, and I know that, and I want you to talk about how important it is, because I know we could actually win, like what you're saying about your area. You're like, okay, a lot of these people here, I know you were talking about getting other to do bipartisan stuff. If you get the community and you educate the community, they'll go to their elected officials and they'll say, hey, what she's talking about, I want that. And they'll have to bend a knee if they want to get elected, right? So it's putting more people like you out there to have that platform to educate the Latino community, especially in Texas, especially California. And I don't know why a lot of times the Republican Party doesn't want to utilize that. And I'm like, dude, they're fresh right here for the pickings. And I get it. You might have somebody like me that might say something stupid or have baby mamas come out of the woodwork. And it's like, dang, you don't want me. You don't want me. You don't want A-Rod. You don't want me. But I'm just saying, it's like, in general, there's a lot of people like, we're here. But I think a lot of times, too, it's because we're so spontaneous. We say things that are, you know what I mean? You just say things a lot of time and it makes people feel uncomfortable. But I think more and more they're getting used to us. They're getting used to how we operate and how we talk and how we live and how we eat and all that good stuff. So I want you to talk about the Latino vote and how important it is, so not only to the Republican Party, but just the future of the country.
Well, I agree with you. It's not easy, but I think that, we're used to creating our own path. So if the path is not there, okay, fine. I'll create it and I'll get there. Because again, the Republican Party belongs to all of us. It doesn't belong to them. So if we don't like the way it's being, led by, then we need to be a part of it. So we need to work hard to get to those positions. And it may, like you said, maybe it's not going to be easy, and we have to create our own path, because it wasn't easy for me to be in the position that I am in today. I had to create my own path, and then of course they've always been very supportive, and I am very grateful of that. But there's not that many of us, and that's why I'm very passionate that we need more Hispanics, we need more Mayra Flores, because I can't speak, all over the country at the same time. Like I want more, men, more women, Latinos to get involved, so they can also go to California, go to New York, go to Florida, and speak on the issues and just educate our community on the platforms, because a lot of times it really is all about misinformation. Our community has been misinformed for decades. They've been manipulated as well. So it's so important that we give out the information. If we just give out the information of what, a candidate stands for, what the Republican Party stands for, just that alone, they will realize that they actually do not align with the Democrat Party, especially today's Democrat Party. I mean, they've gone so far left. I would say they've abandoned us. They've abandoned our values to cater to, the far left, to a small group of people, to cater to the LGBTQ, RSTUV, WX, Y, and Z. You know what I
The
mean?
mafia, I call it.
So they changed so much. And look, I have a lot of love and respect for everyone, but just don't try to put that on me. Like, I have my own
Or your
values.
children.
or my children. If there's someone that's going to brainwash my children, it's me. It's me. They're my children. I'm gonna, raise them my way. I'm gonna instill, in them my values. You want to have that's on you. But that's one of my biggest, frustrations with today's, Democrat Party. They're always just trying to push an agenda on you. So, you can't watch TV because there's an agenda being pushed. You can't go to the store because there's an agenda being pushed. Everything you drink, everything you eat, like it's just everywhere. It's so frustrating. And it's like, look, you do you, boo, but let me be,
They're ruining our favorite movies. You could be like an hour into the movie and your favorite character at the end, like, is also making out with the guy, and you're like, hey, bro, like I was hoping this guy was gonna come out with the gun, and now he's like making out with this other dude. And I'm like, I hate these movies.
Yeah, I know. That's my biggest frustration. But, little by little, I think that we're making a point, and I could see that they're starting to put more movies that are not like that, that are not pushing an agenda. I could see it in the football and the sports, that there's a lot of sports who are just not doing that anymore. So I'm loving that little by little, but that's because we've raised our voices. So we need to continue and just treat all of us the same. Look, no agenda here. We're all Americans, and what I love about this country is that you can live the way you want and no one is going to say anything. Whatever you do, at your house, in your bedroom, it's no one's business. And, I have my values and no one's going to change my values. But at the end of the day, God gave us, freedom of choice. And that's between them and God. I know what is right from wrong, and I'm going to do what's right for me and for my family. But at the end of the day, they have to make their own decisions. But I'll never be allowed, to be shamed for what I stand for.
Yeah, and things are just so bad because they've been using, like you said, they've been manipulating us. They've been using race, especially in our community. It was real bad that Trump racist. Trump wants to deport you all. Trump called you racist. Rapists, all that. So now people, because of the inflation and because they're grooming the children in school and just so many things, the Latinos are waking up. So they're not able to use that, so people know, okay, Trump ain't a racist no more. And then like debate yesterday, that helped even more. They're like, look at this other bozo. Yeah. Trump's good. And things were great under Biden. Like, what about the last 4 years? Has it got better for you or worse under Biden? Like you said, at the lunch we had, this is the first time in history where you can see both of their records. Two presidents, you can look at their side by side, at their records and check. Another thing is these Marxists, because for the Latino side, the leftist Latino side, there's a lot of Marxists in there. So that's all they want to talk about it, because they know we have a lot of love for our heritage and our race and all that. So they try to use it like brown, and they try to. So people are like, yeah, they're going to it, but then they're Marxists and they're telling them indigenous and colonizers, and they're talking about the past and all this stuff. That's why we're always like, no, focus on today. I'd rather focus on what's going on today. Trying to buy groceries. They're trying to groom my children at school. This crime, these open borders. You know what I mean? You name it, you should be focused. That's what we always tell them. Focus on that. Don't focus on 500 years ago. That's what they use.
Just remember when you mentioned Mayra? Remember when you mentioned Mayra on the hood stocks? We were on this super left-leaning. All these guys are all gangbangers, and we're all in there. Everybody's all getting high. We were like, no, just kidding. We were just like all sitting there, like, praying for these people. Well, anyways, we sat there and they were arguing with this leftist, and Jesse was like, yeah, why don't you guys promote Latinos and Latinos? What about Mayra? Why don't you guys have her? Why don't you guys promote her? And these guys had like 500,000 on TikTok, and everybody's all sitting all uncomfortable in the room. Just like, yeah, because you guys won't, because it's not about Latinos. It's not about people that. So they were right away. They were just like all bowed up.
Like, you should be proud of Mayra.
Yeah, you should be proud of her. How come you guys didn't post her? And they were just sitting there like, whoa,
you're all about us. You're all about us. She's the first immigrant that won. You guys should be all over that. That's what I was like. You guys are just all fakes. Hey, you guys are just leftists. You're trying to use that. Oh, you're all about the raza, but you're just using that to manipulate our people. And our people, we love God. We have godly moral values. We're trying to. That's what you should be focusing on, not all this other past and stupid. Because every country has a bad past. Like, who cares about the past?
Yeah, we have to leave the past behind, learn from it, of course, but we can't allow our past to dictate our future. This is where we're today, and we can make tomorrow better, but it really is up to us.
Amen. Sis. And another thing is, I think the left, I think they're going to round up Gavin Newsom. So we got to make sure we hit on him. But before we go, I know a lot of people are wondering because Trump was supposed to announce it yesterday, his V pick. Would you ever accept it if he picked you, or if not, then or whatever you decide? But who do you think Trump's going to pick? Who's your favorite? Do you think Trump should pick?
I think that anyone that is asked to be in such important position would just be honored. I've always been honored to support President Trump in everything that he does. Anything that his team asks me, I'm always there, and I automatically it's a yes. I'm just happy to be able to be fighting alongside him and to be in the same ticket. I'm really, really grateful. So of course I would be honored to. I really hope that he chooses someone that can bring the people in the middle, that can bring the independent. I don't think that we need someone like him. We already have President Trump. I think that he can bring the base, but those who are undecided, I really do think he needs to be mindful and thoughtful of that. But whoever he chooses, honestly, I'm still gonna vote for him. It so much is at stake in this country that no matter who he chooses, I'm gonna support him. But I really hope that he's mindful of that it's someone that can bring that balance. That maybe they're not 100%, for President Trump, but hey, they're open about his VP pick. So I hope that he brings someone that can bring that independent vote that we need. We need it. So hopefully he's bilingual, so he can help us with Hispanics. If he's not,
Exactly.
if he's not, it's okay. I'm just saying, I hope he's bilingual.
Me too.
Hey,
That's
we
what
can
I'm saying. I
have,
wish he would pick you, Anna, Rubio, or I love Ben Carson. I hope he picks Ben Carson, even Tim Scott.
Ben
I hope
Carson's
it's a
amazing.
minority, like you said, because he already's going to get the base. Trump's already going to. He should pick him up. Plus, that would drive the left
And
bonkers if he
someone
was to pick a
younger
minority.
as well, someone
right,
younger,
right.
honestly, that can just, have a lot of energy. I would love that too.
Well,
Someone
you know how Joe Biden had the whole Easter thing, and then he had all those from the rainbow community there. Remember all that? Hey, imagine if Trump had
do.
like a carne asada cook-off right there on the lawn.
Con
Oh, you know how many?
mariachi.
Man, don't even get me started. People would go crazy. That's all it takes, and people would vote for him. But man, just put me on your team. I'll help you out, man. But yeah, but yeah, man, sister, thank you for coming on. I know you have a lot going on, and I know you. I'm telling you, when we seen you up there, it was a huge thing. I want to say
Thank
that we
you.
all were watching. I think that we all shared it, and we all sat there. I remember something happened that night where we're all sharing it. We're all on the phone, and it was huge to us because we felt like somebody that represented us got there and was out there.
Wow.
And then so we became like in my community here in Vegas. So they're like, "Do you know her?" I'm like, "Mm-hmm." You know that one, but you don't really. You know what I mean? They're like, "You talk to her?" I'm like, "Uh-huh." So it was like one of those situations where you just
I
we're
love
trying.
it.
Yeah. So it just gave a lot of people that felt like we had no voice because
I know
we
it
feel like
did.
we're big here in a little town, but how big are we really? You know what I mean? But then to see somebody with your platform and see people like Kevin McCarthy stand behind you and all these other people stand behind you and represent that, I was like, wow, she made it, and you can make it, and you can have a huge voice. So I appreciate all that. I've always wanted to say that. We
Thank
really, really
you.
appreciate your platform and what you're doing.
Thank you so much. You're amazing. Thank you. Honestly, again, I'm happy to do this, and I just hope that we can inspire more people like us to also be a part of this fight that is truly the most important fight of our lifetime.
Amen. So
But
before we go, just give one last little pitch. Why should they vote for you? And then how could they help you? How could they donate? Where could they look you up? All that.
well, I'm in South Texas, District 34. I know that many of you might not live in my district, but this race is very important, not just for South Texas, but at the national level, because my vote, my voice will impact your district. I want Hispanics all over the United States to be inspired to vote for my fellow Republicans, my fellow colleagues. So my goal is to grow the Republican Party, to secure, of course, the border. I'm all about border security. It's very important that our children or families feel safe, and that's not what's happening right now. Strengthening the economy, giving the American people economic freedom is also a top issue, and that itself is going to keep us very busy. But of course, you know, there's so much work to do when it comes to child trafficking legislation that put these monsters in prison for the rest of their life. That's also a passion of mine, and also investing billions of dollars in keeping our children safe at public schools. When I was in Congress, I introduced the bill called the RGV Act, and that would include billions of dollars to be put in public schools. And I think that if we're able to send billions of dollars abroad, we should be able to spend billions of dollars in making sure that our children are safe, and to help, you know, reduce some of that gun violence that is happening in our children's schools. We think it's never going to happen to us, but we're not the exception. These things can happen to our children's schools. So it's important that we are proactive and that we keep every public school safe, and that something like that, what happened in Uvalde and in other schools, don't ever happen again. So I introduced this bill called the RGV Act, and I hope that I'm able to reintroduce this bill again once I get elected in November. Praise God. And you can find me on all social media platforms, Mayra Flores. On X, you can find me on Mayra Flores Vallejo. Of course, I also have my website, mayrafloresforcongress.com as well. So you can, it won't be that hard to find me. So I hopefully you're able to play a role in our campaign. If you live outside the district, you can always make phone calls for us, or to you know, the candidates that are running in your district as well. It's important that we all play a role. It's important because the people before us took hits so we could have the opportunities that we have. So now it's our turn to take that hit, so our children also have the same opportunities and be able to accomplish the American dream. So go out and vote, and make sure that you take your friends and your family out to vote. At least take 10, 15 more, you know, 10 people, 20 people, if you can, to go vote. Give them a ride, drag them if it's necessary, but we got to get people to the polls. We got to flood. That is the best way that we can protest against this administration. You know, nothing good does it if you're just there, you know, on social media. So we gotta do it, but
Right,
at the polls.
Amen. Everybody get out and vote for Sister Mayra. She's also, if you had anybody that's Spanish speakers, she's going to be on tomorrow morning at 9 Pacific time, doing it in Spanish. So if you have any family members that are Spanish speaking and all that, make sure you send it to them, and so they could tune in and they could hear giving a Spanish one tomorrow. But thank you so much, Sister Mayra, for coming
Gracias.
in. And send me any
Thank
videos
you.
or whatever you do, and then we'll share them up.
Thank you. God bless you. Have a good night.
God bless you.
God bless
All
you.
right, guys.